in the back room as well. Wanted for you to check your phones. I'll check mine as well. Turn them off. And for full disclosure, this meeting is being recorded. We have several items on the agenda here. The county clerk, Brian Smith, contacted me and wanted to discuss an issue and got put on the agenda. So we'll go with Brian first. And if he has something pending and he wants to leave after his presentation, feel free to do so, Brian.
Well, the committee meetings are always enjoyable, but thank you for that. Just very, very briefly, as you all know, a fiscal court approves our budget every year. We appreciate that. I'm very proud of what we've done in the clerk's office to be responsible for taxpayer dollars. The budget I've submitted over the last 3 years has been a reduction over the one I inherited, netting about 169,000 plus in savings, not counting the what we call excess fees that we take in every year. That nothing has changed in that. I'm not asking for authority to spend any additional money. In that budget is a line item for 27 employees. I'm asking fiscal court's approval to amend that to allow me to hire a 28th employee. The reason I can do that without any additional funding is one, good management. Two, we have one of those slots as a part-time position who has not put in enough hours, so we have not spent nearly as much on her as we anticipated. The other is we haven't filled one of those positions. We will be filling that position, the 27th position, at the beginning of next month. We've got some unspent capital there, so we will be able to manage it within our budget. Why do we want to add another person? I'm not building a kingdom down there. I think if you've been down there this year, you've seen a dramatic increase in volume. The biggest thing that benefits those agencies that rely on taxpayer dollars is car sales are way up in this county, way up, more than we predicted. That does take a lot of labor in our office. It's time consuming to make sure that title work is done well. We want to make sure, my philosophy as a government servant has always been, I don't care where you buy your car, I hope you buy it locally. And people are tending to do that, and that money turns around here in this community. We collect that for all the taxing districts, including the county. I'll pause there, and if anybody has any questions, any thoughts, any concerns.
Anyone on the committee have a question of Brian? And again, it's no budget impact.
No. We're in really, really solid shape budget-wise. And I appreciate the hard work my staff does in that regard.
Hearing no questions from the committee, any questions from the magistrates?
Not a question, just a comment that we're all aware of how busy you are in that area, and I can personally say that every one of your employees works very hard and very efficiently, and I've never seen anybody standing around or sitting around and doing anything. They are swamped. They are literal every day.
They're fantastic. I grew up in the food service industry, and there's a saying in food service, if you get time to lean, you get time to clean. That's sort of our philosophy down there. They know where to pick up on other tasks if they don't have a customer in front of them. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Patsy. Square. Right here.
Patsy.
We're in a more formal setting.
You're all right. It's okay.
I would like this, if possible, to be on the agenda for this month's meeting. I will not be, with apologies, in attendance to this meeting as well. My duties are taking me to Washington, D.C. to advocate for election security. I will be doing that at no cost to the taxpayers. So again, no budget impact on that, but it's an opportunity to get in front of our federal delegation and talk about the impact of legislation on us here at the level. You all are familiar with the phrase unfunded mandate. It's happening in elections as well. Even though those election dollars are paid out of fiscal court money, not my operating budget money, I feel like I have to fight for that issue as well.
Meeting, or because you said you were 27?
Yes, I would like it on that meeting, even if I'm not going to be there.
I mean, somebody's going to present, or you want a resolution about the?
Well, so I've not done a budget amendment before, Bonnie. I honestly don't know
okay.
what has to be voted on, but I don't know what the mechanism for that is.
I think it'd have to be a budget amendment, even though it's not dollars, you're changing your budget as
Yeah, that's
presented.
my understanding.
That's my understanding.
And you want it on the next court.
If possible, yeah, I want to move as
Monday.
quickly as possible to bring on somebody.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. And if you think of a question afterwards, you all know how to get on. Thank you all.
Next up will be our financial report from our treasurer, Lisa Pearman.
I've got several things I've put out in front of you all. One of them is a clerical error that I need to get fixed that I discovered. Back in July, we did a budget amendment for the ambulances, and those ambulances should be paid out of our, call it agreement checking account, and they were paid out of the general fund account. So at court this Monday, there will be a cash transfer, and I gave you a copy of that cash transfer stating the amount that we have paid so far, the $819,866.67 will be transferred from the pilot agreement account back to fund the general fund. Is there any questions on that?
Any questions of the committee? Hearing none, any questions of the magistrates? On this, you want it on this
It'll
coming
be,
meeting?
yes, it'll be part of the financial transfer resolution that we normally have.
Okay.
Be added to that. And then you were emailed the financial statement a week or so ago. Basically, our total funds is $53,155,463.37 as of March 31st. Out of that, restricted funds is $18,997,992.50. The non-restricted is $34,157,470.87. And also I provided a comparison from March of 25 and March of 26. Is there any questions on that information?
Any questions of the committee? Hearing none, any questions of magistrates? Okay.
The next item I have is an amendment to our budget, amendment number 4. We have some items that this time of year we're trying to kind of clean up to finish out the year. One of the main items of this budget amendment is our EMS dealing with House Bill 8, the Ambulance Provider Assistant Program. Our amount changed to how much that we have to pay each month for that program, as well as the money that we received. And in that process, the expenses that go along with that. I had to wait till our revenue was above the amount that we budgeted, and now it has. So this is the allocation for those two things. We had an audit that we had money that we had to pay out, and then there was money that we received. So the $34,000 is what we received of the money, and then we had to pay out $60-some thousand. So then also we had a CAECO insurance grant that Mark utilized for some equipment he purchased for $3,680, and that was to be budget amended in. So a total of all those is $225,294, and that is to offset the APAP fee line, then to help with medical supplies, petroleum products, contract for services agreements line, and then refunds also. The way the billing company is doing their refunds is different, and So we needed some money in that line to finish out the year. So that makes that balance out at the 225, 294 even. Also, as you all recall, we approved the fire department first due incident reporting software. That was to be purchased and paid, and we did that, but this is to replace that in the account. So that's just kind of cleaning that up. Then the third item is some EMS equipment. It is purchasing 14 monitors and defibrillators, and it's for the $905,300. And I don't know if anybody wants to speak on that part of the budget amendment.
What? I mean, we've talked about this for like 5 seconds in emergency service one time. Besides, like, I guess when we talked about the first report, why is this coming up now?
You just got the bids Friday.
Yeah.
Got bid amounts. They're not their bid amounts, they're estimates. We need to set it out for an RFP. But they had to be tested. Mark, he could probably explain more of this.
We didn't even know it was going to be put out for testing right now.
Back in February,
Yeah,
we mentioned it was going to be about $1 million, and it was for these cardiac monitors.
Correct.
It was in the, yes.
But we didn't.
And there was
And that's how
a
they
couple
had
of
tested.
options, and they were going to test them and find out
We was
which
going
one.
to discuss them later in committee, and we
Okay.
have not done so.
Well, we just really got to the point, and would like to go ahead and proceed with it, but if he can explain where we're at, and if you still want more time, then we'll take.
Why don't you go ahead and explain where you're at on it, Judge, and then we'll take it up from there point.
Okay.
Right. As I mentioned several meetings ago, there were two brands out there. We tested those brands, Stryker and Zoll. We had both of those manufacturers on site with us and did training with those monitors. We deployed those monitors for operational use for several weeks. Gave the crews the opportunity to interact with it in a real-time, real patient basis. The general consensus is that what we're wanting to do with our medicine going forward is that the Zoll monitor seems to be the best fit for us. The amount for those, it's actually 15 monitors, is I've got quotes here if you guys would like to see it. It's $905,000 and $905,286. That includes the monitors. There's some credits for our current monitors on there. That includes some of the backdoor stuff to analyze our medicine, and it's 5 years worth of their service plan as well. They're included in
Mark, I remember thank you. Kind of the reason why it got brought up, because I kind of poked and prodded you and said, hey, tell us about it. But I thought the last time we actually discussed, we were hoping to hear back from Vickery on the grants and stuff to either use towards ambulance or this, right?
I know that was part of it. That was a discussion at the time.
Gotcha.
We talked about.
Is there a reason, is this something pressing? I know they're coming into life. When is into life for the monitors?
I don't know the date off the top of my head. I would just say by the end of this year.
So it's nothing pressing that we need to do right now,
No,
next 2
sir. I
weeks.
mean, our monitors are working fine.
So if we can put this on the budget or look at it towards budget and budget it better?
You guys feel like it's necessary, sure.
It's gonna be my question. Why don't we just insert this in your budget, Judge, and then we'll discuss it in the budget? Because you're talking about $1 million. And I had no idea this was gonna be on the agenda today. I was not asked to put anything on the agenda. So I'm not prepared to talk about it in detail. And I think the normal process would be to go through the Emergency Services Committee, fully vet it and discussed. And then if it needs to be referred to the Finance Committee after that, then we'll do so and address it at that time.
Is there? I thought we were further along on it, so it's my bad.
Well, I mean, I know with Striker Equipment beforehand, after they finally gave us an actual bid, we corrected the trade-in credits and stuff like that. Are they giving us any credits or?
Yeah, so we're getting about $96,000 in credits for our current equipment.
Is there a date this is? Good
Their
for?
price changes have already happened. Last time I talked to our rep today,
It says it expires June 30th, 26.
they don't anticipate any more price increases until next April. And there is a leasing option too. I don't have those numbers with me. They haven't updated the leasing
That's what I
option.
wanted to know too, if
They
there's a
do.
lease option.
Yeah, they do have a 5 and a 7 year lease as well, and I'll get those.
And is it, I know with Stryker it was cheaper if we paid cash up front versus financing.
Yeah,
or
I
leasing.
mean, there'll be
Is-
interest involved in the financing, just like,
So this is a cash
this
price
is
right
the
here.
cash price, yes, sir.
Greg, can I speak?
Pardon me?
Can I have,
Sure.
ask a question?
Sure.
So reading this, it looks like you were trying to take the money from the legacy fund from the hospital, is that correct?
That's
Paying
correct.
to Pay for it?
Yeah, that's exactly. Versus a lease agreement where you're paying the interest and stuff. So that money's sitting out there. And I thought we had discussed it briefly.
It was brief.
Well, that'd be a reason to go back to the Emergency Services Committee meeting, because we're going to be talking about the different interest rates that might be involved. The interest we could draw off the money that we have existing in our reserve, as opposed to the interest that might be imposed on the purchase of equipment. So how do you want to go, Judge? You want to put it in your budget and we discuss it during the budget, because that's going to be next week or the week after? Or do you want to wait until we go back to the Emergency Services and discuss it at that time?
Well, it will have an impact on the budget if we don't pay it out of a fund that we already have. So if we're going to try to do like a 3 or 5 year type of payment, then that payment would need to be in next year's budget. So
I would recommend we take it back to the Emergency Services Committee first, then, before we move forward with it.
Well, I'm not for using legacy funds to fund it either, so.
Well, that'd be part of our discussion, how we would fund it. I mean, once we decide on what we got and what the best process would be moving forward. So,
I don't think this is obviously, I don't think it's a discussion of not needing it. I'm pretty sure I'll talk about how it's needed multiple times. I wasn't expecting to see it personally.
Do we have the information that compares the income that would come from the investment of the legacy fund versus the interest we would pay if we?
that's what we could compare.
Will we get that?
That's
Once we find
that's
out.
the same thing we were talking about with the striker. That's what.
Do we know when that'll be available? Do we have that information?
as far as the lease agreement,
Part of the lease agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can bring it to the
Yeah,
emergency.
we get that in Emergency Services Committee meeting.
Sir.
Okay.
okay. Well,
Just to say, if we're wanting to do it for this fiscal year, time is running out. Is that budgeting? So I'm hearing that you're not wanting to do that this fiscal year. So we're good. Because that's one of the reasons why it's a timing thing.
So you're going to revise.
We'll take that out.
He said it end of the year, so that's well into the next fiscal year. So I think you're saying we're okay. We don't need it this fiscal year, correct?
We just had an opportunity. Yeah, we just got like Bonnie said, we just
Sure.
got these numbers in last.
And the equipment, since they're not end of life yet, they're still being serviced and serviceable until they're end of life.
Certified for the remainder of it.
And we would still have to go through a bid on these as well. And if we are going to do a lease, then we have to go through the Department of Local Government. And it will take the longer time this time because our debt is past that exemption. So we went through last time without having to do the hearing. We will have to have the hearing on this. So just let y'all know, it will need a little more time.
What was the price difference in Stryker, just out of curiosity? Did you
Off
say
the top of
that?
my head, about $125,000
More or less?
less.
Stryker's less?
Okay. that all your?
That's all I have. Thank
Okay.
you.
Next up is our industrial tax report, according to Deena Taylor.
Okay, we added 93 new accounts during the month of March. Collected 115,320 for the fiscal year from July 25 to now. We've got the end of March, we collected $2,500,000. The part shows the breakdown, and then we've got what we collected. Kind of see, each month of March. 25. The big difference in 23 was we had a couple of our bigger companies that had fiscal year ends that their collection month ended up being the month of March, and in the following years they were under. So March isn't normally a good collection month, but April you should definitely see it. Any questions?
Any questions of the committee?
Do you have a rough estimate of how much you've collected so far in April, since it's for the prior quarter?
As of just a little while ago, we're looking at 2.89, almost 2.9 for a total.
It's about 400.
Yeah, it's about 401,000 in the last couple of weeks. So we still have a couple weeks more for quarterlies net profits this month. So it's always our busiest month.
And have you had any contact from the vendors down there on the retooling or anything to date?
I've had a couple of companies inquire that expect to be down there, but I don't think.
And when I say down there, let me be clear. So I'm talking about at Glendale.
I don't think it's any of them. But I've had some inquiries from some.
Okay. Well, the 93 number is good.
Yes, I think we had 101 last month and 190 this month.
Reflects your continued good work, Deena. Appreciate you. Any questions of the magistrates?
Thank you, Dean.
All right.
We have a lot of help from our CPAs this time. They go ahead and file the returns for people.
All right. Thank you. Next, Judge Taul, do you have a budget status?
We're still crunching the numbers. So I don't have anything that I can really say at this point. I'll be ready to make, to make the presentation.
27th?
So we're not gonna get to see it before the court
I don't
meeting?
see how, because it's not ready yet, and I'm gonna have enough trouble just trying to pull together the presentation before. So it'll almost be like we'll all be looking at it together. So if I can get it before then, but, we still got quite a bit of work to do. So there was one other thing that has come up. Chairman, if I could go ahead and speak to that.
Yes.
So there's a, how best to explain this? Let me go ahead and just pass this agreement out. Need these all over there, probably. I think I have just enough for all the magistrates. So what this is, huh? Yes. So you want to, so we,
I don't know what you're passing out.
yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
It's a
It's,
settlement agreement.
so you want to do, I guess we can,
Order.
so without discussing that specific agreement, is there a way that I can just
Sure, I
talk
mean, you can just, sure.
the background of it, but not talk about the agreement itself? Okay.
Can we collect the settlement agreement?
Should we collect these back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hand them this one.
Here, I'll pass them to Jenny.
That's all right. You can pass it down. What this is we've, towards the end of March, Blue Oval mistakenly started to remove the gravel off of the pad out there that's our future site for emergency service building. So it's all a bunch of gravel. Okay, they were using it as a parking lot at one time. And this was a bit of a surprise, and only found out about it because somebody in Glendale called me. It was on a Sunday. And so through some phone calls, we got them to stop. And they were probably about 50% into the project. That what they were going to do is remove all the gravel and then put in topsoil and seed it in grass. And the purpose was primarily, I believe, to make it look better. That's what I was told. So through some other discussions with various Blue Oval folks, was able to meet out there and discuss how to proceed and how to put it back. And so took that opportunity to make a few revisions to how they were going to put it back and still leave a large area in the center of the property of the pad as gravel for future site of building. And then, but in the process, put periphery around, go ahead and proceed with putting dirt and seeding around the edge for several purposes. For one thing, it would look better. And second of all, it also helps with issues with erosion. Okay, so as the water's coming off of the gravel, it hits some grass and slows things down. You know, it just helps with that. So we agreed to that. Okay, and so they agreed to start the process of reversing everything back to what we agreed to. So it's kind of a punch list of different things to look at. The little road that comes up to the pad it was kind of rough the way that they had it built, so they agreed to bring some dirt up around it, you know, just to make it look better. Really a few cosmetic things. So they proceeded to do that, met with them several times over the last several weeks, going out there and looking at it, and they've continued to make improvements to it. Currently, right now, they have replaced the pad in the center part with gravel and compacted it appropriately and put it back to the way they had it before. They have put dirt around the periphery, about 40, 50 feet in all the way around, and then built the dirt up to the gravel section so that there's a bit of a slope there. They've seeded all of that and fertilized it, and so it's pretty much where it needs to be. They've done some work on the road, made it look better, and so in the process of all of this, I guess the attorney for Blue Oval wanted to have an agreement, and which is what we'll need to look at, and they want us to sign it, want me to sign it. And it basically says a lot of the stuff that we agreed to. And so that's kind of what we're going to have to, I guess, discuss in closed session and look at the actual agreement and decide whether we'll proceed with signing it. It's a lot. It's kind of after the fact, really. I mean, they've done everything that really I've asked them to do. So I'm not sure I understand why this came about, because I never said that we were, you know, going to be taking them to court or, you know, or anything like that. It was just, let's just put it back, and they agreed to do it. So, but I guess from their end, they want to tie up some loose ends and make sure that we, you know, that at the end of the day, they don't have some legal thing that happens after they've been dissolved. Such.
So at the next court meeting on the 27th, we'll go in closed session on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like we will.
All right. Anything else?
That is it.
All right, last item's something I want to address. In order to impact the budget in a positive manner, I've last several weeks been in conversations with our county attorney and working also with our jailer here recently about numbers and stuff. Trying to talk about use of the phase 2 opioid settlement funds to go toward the jail in some way. We know, y'all know about the SAP program we have down there. We got some numbers. The deficit cost to the county per inmate for this program is $9.66. And the number of inmates, that fluctuates in the mid-60s to the mid-70s. There's never really a true number that graduate that's into this. So whenever you calculate the per inmate per day, it comes out to a pretty healthy sum. So what I would like to propose today is that we place a line item on the budget to SAP line, call it, or whatever Lisa deems necessary to put there, for an amount of $250,000 annually to come out of the opioid settlement money to go toward that line item in the jail budget to offset some of those costs and stuff that are involved. It's pretty cut and dry as far as the reason, and it's cut and dry as to, I think, in my opinion, the positive outcome of the use of these funds. And so if there's any questions about it, Jenny's here to assist in some of the aspects too. So if any of the committee members have any questions, well, go ahead.
So just a clarification of phase 2 funds, that is currently, I was thinking that was already for the
QRT?
The QRT.
It is, so we would be discussing doing away with that program and utilizing those funds toward this.
Have any discussion with coroner's
I've
office?
had discussions with the coroner himself, and he told me that whatever we decided to do, he was good with it.
It's interesting. Did you talk to Shayna also, or?
I talked to the coroner.
But QRT technically originally was set up for like a 4-year basis, right? So we're halfway through that. So there's only 2 years left of that, which is only 90,000 per year.
I don't think it was a 4-year, was it? It was
It was
6.
I don't know what you mean by, I think we did a resolution, and we put it in the
supposed to be-
budget. About 4 years.
Well, when we first discussed it at
We were
committee.
talking about a timeline, but I don't think it was
Okay.
established.
Okay.
I think it was like 90. It was like 90,000 a year for the person, and that would, with the funds that were coming in or have come in, that would stretch out over several years. I think it was more than 4 years, but
But that program's kind of been up and down, and of course, not effective now. We don't have a QRT. But thought this was a very effective way to use those funds, and we got to find every way we can to impact the jail budget. The increases just keep going up to the point where we're going to reach a point where we just don't have the funds to do it. Anyone else on the committee have a question about it?
I don't really have a question. It just makes good sense to me that these funds would be directed toward the area where it could make the most difference, positive difference, because these are actually victims. And this would address that and help them possibly recover.
The whole idea on the litigation was that we were getting restitution in our community for the expenses we already paid. And so I think this is in line. And unlike the state money, which cannot supplant, so you can't use an existing program and ask for money, the local funds you can supplant. So for something we're already doing.
In actuality, it would fund some of the jail budget that we currently are providing for local
But
funds.
limited to that SAP
Yeah.
program, meeting the statutory.
Just going to take up the gap between the actual cost and what the state provides. It's kind of like the whole situation we've got with the jail. You know, we're carrying most of the freight.
So we get a little bit more for staff inmates than we do for, we get a little less.
A little less.
Does that look right?
Mhm.
That doesn't make sense. Anyway, we get a little less, okay. So it costs $46 a day and we get $36.34.
Well, coming from the state, it does make sense.
Okay, yeah. Take that.
Yeah.
Somehow it makes sense.
There's some phase 3 money too. Can we use any of that?
We could, I think,
Is it available?
We had actually put
Yeah.
phase 3 money, we had already discussed this for this upcoming budget of utilizing that if it could be used. I'm just gonna check on that to make sure, but it's about $90,000, I believe, that we have. So I think it's all pretty much the same rules, same thing for the jail.
Yeah, the same.
What part of the jail would you apply
It
to?
would have been for this same type of thing, whatever we could use it for. I hadn't really got into the details.
Well, the reason I asked that because we have the expenses incurred at the medical expense too, is the drug related. But
Yeah.
I think with the new budget agreement that the state or the lawsuit that they
Yeah.
had,
It's gonna be some, not sure what that's gonna, we'll know this time next year. How that's gonna use.
toward the medical.
So we do have to be careful, and that's what Fred and I looked at, like, what could Josh show us that was going to drug treatment? We can't just funnel it to the jail, even though we know theft crimes, domestic violence crimes are all, many of them are drug induced, but, this we can show is kind of fenced off as drug. Yeah, if we did use all that money in phase 2, there is additional money paying in phase 3.
How many total things are there now?
6.
Only the first 3 have we actually gotten money up. We don't know what the payouts are gonna be for these last 3 phases.
At least the 6th one is named the 6 something defendants. Yeah, it does help.
And then the interest of that would still have to remain within the same program.
A really good question. So I did a little research on that. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I believe that also is going to be restricted. I know the state interest is restricted, and so I can look at each settlement and see, but I'm almost certain it's
So
restricted.
it help prolong how long it's used to help
Yeah.
reduce the.
So we've earned over $100,000.
Almost half.
Would you prefer, Judge, to put this in your budget as a line item, or would you prefer not to? And then we, at the second reading, can make adjustments when we have our discussions, whichever way you want to.
I'm just, I guess, I hadn't thought about doing away with the quick response. I think my understanding is that Shayna is doing a lot of that work right now, and she can't continue to do it forever. And that they were going to bring somebody in to continue the work with different objectives and a different system of monitoring and everything. So it would be, I mean, I would like to hear from her what the current status is and whether by removing this funding that does that mean everything stops that she's been trying to do? So I'm just concerned that we just stop that program. Yes.
Well, there's not, in the phase 3, there's 92,000 in there. So could we budget that for the QRT and then this 250 out of the phase 2?
The QRT 90, so that would maybe
There's 92
replace
in there
for
now.
1 year.
1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
Until they can do something else. They were looking at maybe
Yeah.
2 part-time people or at least 1. They weren't really going to do it the same way that they did before, but for budget purposes.
Yeah, and I think that's key as, well, that's for you all to decide. But what we cannot use opioid funds for are just homelessness assistance.
Right.
So I was unaware. I mean, I know the committee that met voted on this QRT and it never really got off the ground and met those objectives. So, but I haven't talked to the coroner to know. I mean, I thought they were finished with the program. what's this budget here, but you all may know something different.
No, that's not my understanding at all.
My biggest concern in talking with them is what they're involved in now, as far as what we intended for the program to address. There's a lot of room with a lot of work with the homeless and different things like that. And so I'm real concerned myself about what we're actually addressing. And if we can better utilize these funds in a direct manner that it was intended to be used and know that it's being used properly, then we've got accountability there. I haven't felt like we've had good accountability in that program at all from day one. And so that's one of my biggest concerns and the reason I want to try to figure out some way to utilize the money where it helps our tax base and it helps our funding our jail better.
I had talked with Pat about
Corner.
our corner, sorry, that should get back together with the original committee that decided the QRT and try to figure out what direction to go since, it didn't work last time. And I don't know if y'all have gotten back together or,
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Pat too about our corner about this, and I think it's a little bit, I don't know if it's fair to say that it was a failure because there was a lot of positive things that did happen. I don't think some of the objectives were met, for sure.
right, yeah, no, I'm not saying it failed. I'm just saying some of the things that were happening wasn't the exact vision or the way that it was proposed. So I suggested to get back with the original committee that formed the QRT and look at that vision again and go from there.
My recall may not be accurate, but when we first began to talk about and consider the QRT, it's my thinking that we were looking toward that becoming a position that would find additional funds to have it continue, because this was very temporary funding. And obviously it's going to come to an end unless someone takes that on and provides that additional funding, because we don't have.
And I do believe
Ongoing
they
funding.
have gotten some grants. I don't know
They have
exactly.
a $67,000 grant, and that's been extended through February of next year. We're working through LTAD on that. The holdup, some of that was just expenses. This new grant they're going after too would be LTAD taking care of hiring the people that they needed to put it into the programs that account for all this. So they would be accounting for the people that are on opioids, stuff that the grant pays
That's from the
for, and
state.
that's from the state.
Yeah.
But it helps us with everything else because it's the same information they're putting in, keeping track of the people and the recidivism. So,
I mean, I will tell, it's your all's decision to make the policy. What that group decided was that we wanted someone who was going to the scene for EMS, sheriff, and coroner to get people into treatment from the scene, not a hand out pamphlets, educate the community, go 3 days later. But you all can fund that other kind of program. I just think there's a lot of duplication. And I still think we have a need for that, what a true QRT officer is, which is go to the scene, transport to treatment that day.
And I think more of that is happening now with Shayna. She's doing it herself. But, and maybe some others in the coroner's office. So I think they have made some adjustments to it. And they have reached out to, I know that they have reached out and provided some information to some homeless that are out there, but I wasn't led to believe that that was all they were doing by any means, but that was one thing that they did do. So, one option here would be to go ahead and proceed. I'm all for trying to figure out ways to bring the jail subsidy down. And we could use phase 3 funds. Maybe it would only be a 1-year subsidy for what they're doing right now, assuming that we would agree to it, and keep that on the side. And like Bonnie said, it's about $93,000, which would be enough for 1 year. So that would be an option that we could move forward with. I would just like to talk to Pat and Shayna, and I could, for the coroner's department, I can do that tomorrow and, and go ahead and see if it's possible to, if they would have any concerns with moving forward with something like that, a one-year type of subsidy from the, possibly from the opioid phase 3, and then go ahead and proceed with this $250,000 from phase 2 to help us with the budget this year.
I think along the lines of what you're saying, we commit to at least using this money budgeted for the jail. Worst case scenario, again, that's less money that we have to subsidize for the jail. So if we do come up with a program, there's no one hired now. There's nothing. We're almost at budget time. We could relook at how we want to do that, and that gives us a few months, so we don't have to worry about that yet. But it's just money that, again, is subsidizing that we would be paying anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, we have opportunity to make a change if we decide to later.
I would suggest, and it would be a good idea to take it back to emergency service where it was brought to the first time, and let's hammer it out again. But I would suggest on this route, because at least we know we could somewhat save some money,
Sure.
almost as a guarantee, then figure out how we want to proceed with the other action.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Other than we need the coroner's office at the table before we proceed any further than that, because we don't even know what their mindset is on this. I don't think we've talked about it in any committee meetings recently, so just want to see what they're doing, what Shayna from the coroner's offices has actually been doing out there.
And that would be discussions we'd have to determine whether or not we want
Yeah.
to continue and how we want to continue, what it's going to look like, and what phase 3 money could be. But as far as the phase 2 money now, to direct a line item of $250,000.
Because we could use it to phase 3 for
Yeah.
what they're accomplishing now. It may work.
But as far as what I'm talking about here,
I
the
think
$250,000,
it's a
any more comments on
good
that?
idea. Yeah.
This $250,000 is, by the way, just clarification, is that what's left that's
No.
not been spent, or are you using a portion of it or all of it?
No, we'll just, this figure would be enough to cover at the extreme of the treatment program
Okay.
down the deficit. And if we don't use it, we don't use it. I mean, just because it's in the budget, we don't have to spend it. It's enough to cover it, more than cover it.
When do we reverse for the specific?
That's what I'll have to
Josh.
figure out, how the dance will be with the
Oh, on the-
funding.
because they
What
pay
documents,
first.
yeah, they pay first, and I would have to get documents that line up with the way the opioid settlement money is supposed to be spent
So if
for
we-
my documents.
So if we had it for at the end and collect interest, that actually might help pay the $50,000 extra. 'Cause we only get 206 here from phase 2, right? So that extra 50,000 will come from interest, plus the 700 something thousand we already have.
We have,
That's what I'm saying. From
yes.
interest, we'll cover the difference.
I mean, we have
It's
enough
gonna
this year to
build.
do this fiscal year
Yes.
to see how that program goes
Yes.
forward for
It's
one
kind of
year.
front-loaded,
Yes.
yeah.
And then see from there how we can do it in the future, be my.
But we would be paying, we'd line item it, but pay it in arrears whenever.
Basically, it'd be a line in the jail. We'd be paying it from the jail like we are now. And be a cash transfer to reimburse that based on how I am getting the documentation to do the transfer.
But we can still earn interest off it. It's kind of
We'll be earning interest both places.
perfect.
So you want to insert it into your budget, Judge?
We'll go ahead and proceed. with
Okay.
that.
Good deal. Okay, any other items of the committee? Any comments from magistrates? Thank you, everyone.
Just
We are-
one-
was-
just to be clear, so you plan on presenting a budget this Monday?
It'll be Monday, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot.
And if you have anything earlier, you're gonna give it to us if possible. Okay.
Has to be done by May 1st.
I was just making sure that I was correct. And it's Monday at 3:30 or 5:30? 5:30, correct?
5:30.
I don't want to get here at 3:30 and have to wait 2 hours.
Okay, no, it is fine.
At least I'd be early.
All right, we are
Right.
dismissed at 4:20.
Greg, I
Wait a
was
minute.
wondering, do you want to go on ahead and schedule some extra meetings? I don't know if you wanted to have one the next day. You have to have it 24 hours in advance. I didn't know.
Until we see the budget, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I
was just wondering.
I've had no involvement in the budget to this
Yeah.
point, so I have no idea what it looks like, so.
All right.
We're adjourned at 4:20.